Hi, welcome to the AfroCentric Woman. Um, Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to come on here really quick and talk about the I want to take you out of town vacation scam slash shortcut. And yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about this with you all. And it was prompted to my mind today because the guy that I told you about before that I went on the third date with, he basically texted me earlier today and was like, "Oh, there's something I want to ask you, something I want to talk to you about." And I said, "Okay." He said, "I'll call you later." I said, "Okay, cool." And then he texted me again, asked me if it was okay to call. I said, "Sure." So he called me and then we talked and we were chit-chatting. And then he finally like brings it up like what he wants to do. He's like, "Oh, I want to drive to such and such city. I just want to get out of town for a couple of days." Or no, first he said, "Is it gonna be a couple days that we could just relax together?" I was like, uh, what? No, I don't have 2 days to relax with you all day. No, I can't do that. He's like, "Oh, well, what I'm saying is that I wanna go out of town. I want us to take a little trip to such and such city." I was like, "Oh my god, that's 5 hours away." That's so far. Like, if I went out of town, there's other cities that are closer, closer by. So, you know, no, and that city is not really that poppin'. I mean, it's okay, but it's a tourist city. I just don't have any desire to go there right now. Um, if I went to that city, it would be to freestyle. It would not be with a date. Like it wouldn't. If I went there, it would be definitely to freestyle, not on a date. So I wasn't really feeling that, and I kind of mentioned some other places that I might go, and he seems somewhat open to it. But I was like, if we go to that other city that's over 5 hours away, we have to fly. And then plus I would need my own hotel room. But basically what happened is like, okay, so the first date was okay. Then the second date after the boat ride, he was like, "Oh, come hang out at my house." And then the third date, which was like the other day, he was like, "Oh, hey, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. Oh, come hang out at my house, or when can you come over? I really want you to know my house." And I'm like, you know how they do. So I just think that what happens a lot of time when they're like, "Let's go out of town," it's really to have you be captive to them, because you can't, you're pretty much at their mercy, when you're out of town with them, especially when it's a new relationship. So I've gone on 3 dates with this guy. I don't even know his last name. So why would I go out of town with him? Basically what's happening is that he I think he's feeling like our dates are finite. Like I'm not hanging out with him for long stretches of time. I'm hanging out with him for a couple of hours on our date and then I'm excusing myself and I'm going to sleep. And I mean I'm going, home. I'm saying sleep because I'm tired right now. But yeah, I'll go home. And so I think that what's really happening is that he knows that this can go on for a long time. Like these dates, I see you, and then it's like bye, and then I will just never go to his house. Or, I mean, at this point in time, I have no reason to go to his house. So, to try to bypass that, they basically try to get you to go out of town with them. Um, and this happens to various degrees based off of like how much money the guy has. If he has a lot of money or a decent amount of money, he might fly you somewhere or say, "Oh, let's go out of town and fly somewhere." If he doesn't have a lot of money, like this guy, he's going to suggest a road trip. And either way it goes, you're definitely usually at the losing stick because when you're not in your own environment, you are at a disadvantage. When you don't have family and friends around, you're at a disadvantage. When you don't have access to your own transportation, you're at a disadvantage. When you are on someone else's schedule, you're at a disadvantage. And he's the one benefiting from having you be captive in the car or on the plane or in a hotel for a long period of time without any escape, without anywhere, to really go, especially when it's an early relationship. So when they offer you these trips, and this has happened to me multiple times, and I'm so glad that the first time that this was offered to me, I ended up not going out of town. This guy invited me to Mexico, and we were early on, and he was really like trying to love bomb me. And I ended up talking to another sister, and she was like, "No, don't go out of the country with the man that you don't know." And and I just decided that I wasn't gonna go. I wasn't gonna go. So I'm probably not gonna go on this trip either. There isn't really anywhere that I just have to go, you know. I told him I was gonna go out of town to visit my family. He's like, "Oh, can you take people with you?" And I'm like, "I don't want to introduce you to my family, right now. I really don't want to introduce you to my family." Not like, I mean, 3 dates, I don't even know your last name. So no, I can't think about taking you to visit my family. No. So yeah, that's basically what I would caution you. And I think that it's very tempting if you've dated a lot of dusties that have never done anything for you. So if you've dated a lot of dusties that never took you out of town, and you get to see other people's Instagram and stuff with them going out of town with their mates. And so when you get that first vacation offer or that first flued out invitation, you might want to jump at it because you have never experienced that before or you haven't experienced much of that. But you really have to take into a lot of things into account. You have to take into account everything that it would take for you to do that trip. So if he's just saying, "Oh, let me fly you to me," what a lot of us refer to that on our side of YouTube. We refer to that as Kitty on wheels, basically. So basically, he's just flying in Kitty from out of town, um, and for his convenience. So you have to think about even when they pay for the majority of the trip, there's still a lot of things that we end up paying for. All of your toiletries. You might like get a few new outfits or get your hair done, your nails done. Um, you have to make arrangements if you have children, and that's very challenging. If you have children, to make arrangements for all the time that you're going to be gone. You might be missing work. You might be missing opportunities to freestyle or do something else in your own city or somewhere else. So you're missing out on money either way it goes. Either you're missing out on money from freestyling or from, entertaining with your guys, or you're missing out on money from your regular schmegular job or your business. You have to spend money on your upkeep. You have to spend money and spend time and energy if you have children, organizing your children, and you're taking out time and then the wear and tear of just traveling. So who's really winning? And he doesn't have to do anything but just maybe possibly pick you up at the airport. So you invested all of that for what? For to go into town to see him for a couple of days? For him, everything is for him pretty much. Everything is for him. He paid just a little bit because if you think about it, if he spent $400 or $500 on the ticket, if you were already in his city and you guys were going to go out, he was probably going to spend that same amount of money anyway. So you kind of have to put the trip into perspective. Don't be so like, "Oh my God, I'm getting flued out. I'm getting flued out." And so you just like flipping your lid and you're just going crazy because you're getting flued out. You have to put that trip offer into perspective and understand what is he getting out of it versus what are you getting out of it. So a lot of times women do not feel comfortable saying, "Well, I need my own hotel room and I need money for traveling." Like you need money for Uber to get to the airport. You need money to get from the airport to the hotel. You need money for food at the airport, right? Otherwise, basically it's like this. If you accept a flued out offer without covering all your costs, you're the one who's going to end up in the red once you add up everything. And if you think about it, you were living your regular schmegular life. You were just happy, you were content in your own city, minding your own business. He's the one who wants you to come entertain him. He's the one who wants that. You weren't thinking about, "Oh, I want to come to your little podunk town. I really want to go." Like you weren't thinking about that. They're the ones who want it. So a lot of women don't feel comfortable to actually compensate. And it's not even that they don't feel comfortable. Some women just don't sit down to do the math. Some of them just don't sit down to really add up what does it take financially and energetically? What does it take to get you out of your house and into another city to entertain somebody for however many days? Add up everything, add up and incidentals, food at the airport, getting to the airport. Once you get there, are you going to be spending every second, every waking hour with him? Are you going to have some time on your own to which you're going to need to get up, get breakfast, get coffee, do the things that you need to do while he's in meetings and things like that? You have to add up, you have to calculate all those costs. You have to calculate all those costs and really make sure that you're not going to get a flued out experience and then end up in the red because you didn't do the math. So once you get that invitation and you actually want to go, don't go nowhere you don't want to go. Y'all have heard me say that many, many times. Don't do nothing that you don't want to do. Don't go nowhere that you don't want to go. Don't spend time with nobody that you don't mean to spend time with. That's always going to be my advice. But if you find like, okay, I got this invitation to get food out and I want to go, then you have to do the math and you have to be able to ask him to cover all the costs, including the soft cost, including the costs that are not directly related to like not just the flight and hotel, but everything around the flight and hotel, all the other incidental travel that he just sends you a lump sum of money so that you will be able to cover and comfortably get to him. And by the time you get home, you won't be in the red. If you can get flued out and come home in the green, which by you go shopping or he gives you extra money, little extra spending money, and maybe you don't spend all the money and you have a little money that you bring home, that's always preferred. But at the very minimum, you should not be going into the red and coming up empty, coming up negative behind entertaining somebody else. Like, who goes to work and loses money? Like, no, let's not do that in 2021 and going forward. Like, we will not. Because honestly, I'll tell you, this flued out road trip, let's go on vacation very early into the relationship before you've been intimate, it's just a ploy to get into your pants because they will try to be slick and try to do one hotel and they'll tell you, oh, nothing's going to happen, it's okay, you're going to have your own bed. I have two queen beds. You're going to have your own bed so you don't have to worry. It's a con, it's a scam, it's a fraud, it's a ploy. You're going to get duped, so just don't do it. So 9 times out of 10, most flued out offers will never fall. Like, if you do it the right way, you're not going to be able to even accept most flued out offers because you don't know how many times guys have like, oh, let's go to Miami, let's go to Mexico, let's go. I've gotten all those kind of offers within like the second or third date. But once they get the bill and they're like, I'm like, I need all this, I need my own room, I need money, I need to get my hair. Then they're like, oh, well, let me just see you in your city. Exactly. Because you don't want to pay the whole thing. Exactly. So that's fine. It's really no love lost. I don't care. Like, I wasn't planning on going to Miami. You're the one that wants to go to Miami, not me. Not me. I don't want to go. That's on you. So I don't feel like I lost anything. If you don't want to pay for the rest of the stuff that I'm asking for, then I don't lose either way because it's not like it's something that was on my agenda. You know what I mean? So beware of those. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to separate you from the pack so that you can focus on them. You won't be distracted with other guys. You won't be distracted by your friends. You won't be distracted by work. You won't be distracted by your kids. You can focus on them. They want your undivided attention. That's why they want to fly you out. That's why they offer these road trips and these like vacations and stuff like that. They're doing it because it's not, don't, I think the big fallacy is that women think it's a gift. Like, oh, it's a gift to me. He wants to give me a vacation. He's not giving you a vacation. He's giving himself undivided attention. That's what he's gifting himself. The only way a vacation is a gift is if your man's like, "Hey, why don't you and one of your girlfriends, or why don't you and a group of your girlfriends, why don't I rent y'all a villa at the beach and y'all go and have a girls trip and I'm gonna cover it." That's a gift. That's a gift. Oh, it's your birthday or Mother's Day or whatever. That's a gift. But when you're going to entertain him, he wants to do it, he wants to fly you out. That's not a gift. So you're low key working. You're like entertaining him. That's why he's inviting you. So don't get it twisted. Don't get it mixed up. And it's like we have to divorce ourselves from the pick-me-sha ways. If you are a reformed pick-me-sha, like I used to be, you have to let those ideas go. Like, oh, he's doing so. Let me. No, 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 no. Put everything into perspective. Put everything into perspective and understand that that trip is for him. Now, even though it's for him, you can try to maneuver it to make it lucrative for you on the back end. So initially it's for him, and if you agree, you have to have terms to do this trip. You have to have your terms. What would it take to get you there? Because you obviously want my undivided attention. You obviously want my undivided affection. You want me focused on you. Okay, that focus, my love, is not free. Okay, so I have to make this trip lucrative to make it make sense for me. And that's what you have to determine for yourself. Make sure that you don't come home in the red and tired and irritated. And if he's not able to meet your terms, then don't go. Don't go. And I think the general advice is don't go out of the country with a man you don't really know. So if you've met him and y'all have had just a handful of dates, less than 6 dates, you don't really know him. So don't go out of the country with him. A couple of other tips. Um, when you're booking your flight, you want to make sure that he sends you the money for your flight and for your hotel. And I was gonna go to Miami. Of just thinking back, that was like last year. I was going to go to Miami. Um, he wanted to book my ticket, but I was like, no, I really need to book my own ticket. And then he had like these reward miles or something with the hotel because I told him I need my own hotel. And that was a little, irritated about that, but he finally agreed to give me my own hotel. So that was okay, boom, that's squared away. But basically he booked it and I was like, no, I need you to send me the money for the hotel and I will book my hotel. Send me the money for the ticket, I will book my own plane ticket. Okay, so that was a little irritation, but he finally agreed to that. And then we get to the okay, well, I did all the math, like my Ubers, my food, I needed to get my hair done. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna need X amount of dollars to get the rest of everything together to get there. He was irritated about that. Now, when I didn't continue to negotiate with him about this money, it's because I was a little bit more emotional at that time. I'm way less emotional now. Like now I would be happy to negotiate the money because I'm so unattached to the outcome of anything. I don't care. And I'm not easily offended. So if you don't want to pay the money I'm asking, okay, well then I guess I might see you when you get back or whatever the case may be. But I definitely think I could have got that money if I would have just had the right attitude, if I would have had the right approach and kept negotiating. But yeah, the hotel was squared away, the plane ticket was squared away, but the money was it was the contentious part that we couldn't get on the same page about that. Um, Furthermore, I I I really I don't like when guys spend money that they don't have because I don't like the resentment. I don't like I don't like the resentment. If you're If you feel like you have to do stuff to impress me beyond what you can do comfortably, it becomes very like it feels icky and it feels like you're just trying to do too much, bro. Like you're spending money that you don't have, and that's the problem. And I think like that's kind of how I felt with him. Like he was like really like watching his pennies. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get out there. Like, are you gonna want to try to stay in the hotel all day? Because you've already spent all your money just to get me here, but now you're not gonna have any money to entertain me. So all those things were kind of going through my head when I was debating on like, am I gonna go out here and you giving me a hard time about this money and stuff like that. So now back to the situation at hand now with this guy that wants to go on this road trip. I will think about a way to cleverly redirect him to something else that doesn't look like I'm turning down this trip. But Lord knows I'm not about to do no road trip. I'm not about to do that. Mm-mm. No, because I know what you're trying to do. You can't get me to. He's been trying to hound me to go to his house. I won't go. I will not go to his house. He's invited me multiple times. And so I feel like I'm not going to say desperate, but he is persistent in trying to get into my pants. So I think that the best thing that he can think of is, oh, let me take her out of town. Because if I take her out of town, she'll be in a hotel and then I can like try to, sleep with her. But I'm not interested in that right now. I don't even think this guy can afford me. And so I told him, well, I need to get some stuff done to my car tomorrow. And he was like, okay, cool. We can take care of it and you can come over to my house. And like, oh my God, you in this damn house. Do you think I'm about to go to your house because you're gonna get my oil changed and my car service? Like, bro, that's not how life works. Just to think about how much of a headache that would be for me. I don't like to pay for my oil change. I can't remember the last time I paid to get my oil change, but I will pay myself to avoid that headache. That to me is totally not worth it. That's not an equal exchange. You want me to come to your house, you need to be paying way more than my oil change, bro. You need to be like really, really stepping up to the plate to be a provider. And I think although you may have those aspirations and although you might have those intentions, you probably wish you could take care of all my bills. I don't think you can. The way I'm adding up your pockets because I'm pocket watching you. And I don't see how the math would be adding up to you being able to consistently pay all these bills over here. So no, I will not be going over there. So that's what I wanted to share with y'all, just to be aware of that thing. Guys try to use trips as a shortcut to bypass the normal courtship process. So if he is in your city and he should be taking you out on dates and courting with you normally, a lot of times guys, they don't want to invest the time that it takes to court with you properly and take you out on dates and get to know you slowly, a little bit at a time. Like guys have no patience these days. They lack patience. They want to sleep with you by the second or third date. They don't care. So they feel like to bypass taking you out on multiple dates, they think that they can get to the finish line faster by taking you out of town. If you're roster dating, even though you don't have to explicitly say that, they know that you are not the only one. They know that they are not the only one. So they know that if you stay in your city, you might get 3 date offers for Saturday, and you're going to take the best one. Whoever offers you the best date, that's the date that you're going to take. And they don't want to compete. They don't want to offer the best date. So what better to not to knock out the competition than to isolate you on a trip. So that's kind of like the multiple reasons why they try to throw these trips at you. And if you're not savvy enough to know how valuable your undivided attention is and access to you. If you don't know how valuable it is, you might overvalue the trip. Like the trip is some grand, some grand prize or something. Like it's a gift. The trip isn't a gift. The trip is for him. Just like even when you go to dinner, the dinner is for him. When you go to drinks, that's for him. The things that's for you is going shopping, going to the spa. Think about it. The things that you actually want to enjoy. Going to the spa, having money, getting your car fixed, getting your bills paid. That's the type of stuff that really is like truly a gift to you. Dinner, you're entertaining him. You're literally your work. You be tired after the damn dinner, or at least I be. Sometimes I'll be tired because I've been in work, especially when they're socially awkward and you have to carry the whole conversation. Should you be tired after these damn dates? It's not a gift, but that's a part of the process of courtship, of getting to know that person and letting them get to know you. So don't let them try to sidestep you and try to, um, push you into uh going out of town with them to try to shortcut and they're trying to get to your draws basically, as quickly as possible. All right, I don't think I have any comments. I'm on my phone today, so I'm not on my computer, so I'm trying to make sure that I didn't miss any comments. Okay, I don't see any here. So thank you for tuning in. All right, like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Peace.